Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Lau with Kenshan Crafts, and today we are having the long-awaited, well not too long, unboxing and first impressions of the newest Visconti Medici, and this is the Viola or Viola version. And this is the one that just came out. It's limited to 88 pieces. It is US exclusive. I got this from Atlas Stationers. Here's the box. And so I had a lot of commission money from all of you wonderful enthusiasts, pen friends that have been using my code and shopping through my links. So that commission has helped me pay for some of this. And I don't think that this pen was on sale anywhere else, like a deep discount. So let's look into this pen, shall we? Okay, so it does just come in a regular Visconti box, like the Homo sapiens. So there's the Medici Viola 18 karat. I love that it's 18 karat. It is rose gold, yay! I thought it was just gold, but rose gold, love it. And I got number 75. That's so good. I have another pen that is also number 75 out of 80. It is my favorite pen. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's a medium nib. All right. So here comes, this is a shoe style box. It just opens like that. Oh, super exciting. I will bring this up closer. So below is the gorgeous Visconti booklet. Look at that. That's like a bronze gold or rose gold. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so basically it's just a booklet with all of their lovely artistic writing instruments. Yeah. This one. Let's take it out of the bag. And look at that. Look at the depth of that material. This is Jonathan Brooks's purple resin, or sometimes I see it's amethyst. In this case, this is Viola. So the Visconti clip here is enameled, which is different from their usual engraving, and it does have a coating over it, so it's lacquered over. It looks to be lacquered over, yep. Yeah, which is very nice, so that it doesn't lose its like shape over time. However, this clip here does feel a little bit like almost like plastic and not some form of metal, but that's just how it feels. And it would kind of make sense because this body is made of resin. The original Visconti Medici is made with acrysilk, which is another type of resin, but it is much different from this all resin body. And this pen is light in my hands compared to my other Homo sapiens or my other Viscontis. But yeah, oh my gosh, the way that the purple shines in the light. And it is a glossy finish, so the light is going to be reflecting on it. So I do kind of wish that this one could have been in a matte finish, but glossy finishes usually show off the chatoyance much better, I think. Like, it shows off the chatoyance in different ways that matte would not, but both do show chatoyance. And I am just really loving the depth of this color. You can see the darker hues of purple along with the bright chatoyant royal blue, royal purple kind of mixed all together there. It's beautiful. I will say that the stock photos that they made are gorgeous, and so You know, some pens come to you and they are more beautiful in person than the picture. In this case, I think that they did the photo really well. They did the photo justice, and the photo does show off like the really deep layers of chatoyance that the camera, my camera, is not able to capture. But to my naked eye, I think it's quite close to the picture. And now I also will say that I think that the picture, the stock photos of this pen definitely show much more detail than what I can personally see. And I think that really just depends on the lighting that you have. They may or may not have edited the photo to show it off even better, but I am very, very happy with this because this is kind of what I expected the pen material to look like. I was just like amazed at the other extra layers of color and material that went into Jonathan Brooks's purple material when I saw the stock photos. So I can't really see that in here, but I think in other lighting I might be able to see it, because in the stock photos you definitely see like sparkling pinks and purples throughout, and maybe some other colors, but here mostly it is the black, purple, and blue. But it is gorgeous. Let's see how it looks down here. Yeah. All right, we're gonna zoom in a bit, see if that. Yeah, look at that. The way it shines in the light is beautiful. So gorgeous. Look at that. Yeah, when the light hits the right parts of the chatoyance, you can see light bouncing off, and it's beautiful. I do like that the clip here has blue. It's like almost like a basic blue, but it's like a royal blue to me too, along with the purple. Absolutely beautiful material. And then we have the Visconti clip there, or the Visconti finial. I do love this V. Some other Visconti pens have the other finial. I prefer this one. And then let's take a look at the nib. Oh, this is the number 6 nib. And look at that Visconti engraving. It's just so beautiful. And this is a medium, and that says 18 karat, 750. And I believe the feed here is also plastic, and you can see the V there for Visconti. And then here is, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous, gorgeous ink window. And this is new to the Medici. The Medici usually doesn't have an ink window, but this newer version, they created the Briarwood last year, and then now this purple version. And I just think that these floral, I think these are the symbols, geometric flowers representing Florence. So it's, oh my god, just so beautiful. I think the rose gold matches it so well. Rose gold against a royal purple like this is just so nice. And this pen, the Medici, does have facets, so as you can see in the light, like it's shining against each facet differently. Yep, or like individually. I believe it's like 7, 8, 9, 8. No, okay. So it's an octagon or octahedron, one of those terms, but it is 8 sides. It's faceted with 8 sides. However, the grip part here is just smooth all over. Yeah, the grip section here is smooth. And then the threads here for the typical Visconti hook lock safe mechanism is also made of resin, and it is not sharp at all. So it feels comfortable in my hand. Of course, the ink window here too is made with metal parts, and it also does not feel like it's in the way. So I like that. Oh. Okay, so let's take a comparison, or take a look at this pen compared to its other Visconti counterparts, or like the Viscontis I have. So let's see here. Here's my Visconti Kaleido Unicorn Galaxy. Here's the Visconti Homo sapiens Bronze Age, the Visconti Homo sapiens Crystal Dreams, and the Visconti the Visconti Medici Viola. So they're all basically oversized pens. They are the size of a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, so they are bigger pens, and in my hands they're all about the same unposted. Okay, so yeah, and it's a really comfortable size unposted. It just goes a little bit past the perlicue area here, which is the gap between my two fingers. And I believe that the Crystal Dream and the Homo sapiens Bronze Age are very similar too. Okay, now if we just compare, you can see that the clips here are actually quite different. So the clip of the Medici is longer and bigger, but the color is different. So this one it's like I said earlier, I feel like this almost feels like it's plastic, a plastic clip. And again, it makes sense because this body here is resin, it is a type of plastic, and so it might not make sense for a metal to be, a metal clip to be here, but I'm hoping it is metal. I will look that up. And then the clip on the Homo sapiens are thinner. That is so interesting, and it's also made of bronze, so it does feel more substantial as I'm pulling it. This one feels really light, and it's a different feeling. It is also lighter, so this Medici is lighter by about like 5-6 grams total. When I would write with these uncapped, and uncapped this one is 23 grams, while the Homo sapiens Bronze Age is the heaviest. This one is 26 grams or 27 grams, and so it's about a 4-gram difference, which makes sense because the material here is resin, and this is resin plus lava, basaltic lava. And the Kaleido is actually, it feels really heavy, even though like I feel like the Kaleido is supposed to be mostly resin, but it's a thick, sturdy resin in comparison to how the Medici feels. Medici feels a lot lighter, but they're about the same weight. Most of Visconti's pens are double reservoirs, except for the Homo sapien Bronze Age, and pens in that, like the Magma as well. So these are all double reservoir, which means that there is a reservoir of ink here at the front, like a small amount, and then there's a second reservoir in the barrel which holds a lot of ink, and when you unscrew the end here, it opens up the reservoir, which allows ink to flow from the back reservoir to the front reservoir. If you close this knob up here, then it closes the reservoir, which means that you're only using ink at the front here. So whenever you run out of the ink in the front and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm out of ink, but I can still see ink in there, it's because you just need to open it up. And actually, I think the front reservoir is shown through this ink window. So if I don't see any ink left in there, then I would just need to open it up and see if ink will flow through to that reservoir. So yeah, that is one great aspect of the Visconti pens. They are double reservoir. It holds tons of ink, so you can take it with you on long trips if you want, and you will not run out of ink for that trip. All right, so let's do a writing test. So I have 2 inks that I wanted to try out, Pelikan Edelstein Aquamarine and Sailor Manyo Neko Yanagi. One of them is really light. The other one is too green. So I just wanted to see which one matches my pen better. So let's take a look at Aquamarine. I have not used Aquamarine yet, but I really want to try it. It's a gorgeous gray teal. And I chose full bottles because I have to ink this pen up through vacuum filler. Most of Visconti's pens are vacuum filled. Okay, so obviously from the swatches, I think that this pen would definitely go better with Neko Yanagi. But wow, that Aquamarine really hits the spot for me for teals. My God, that is gorgeous. Okay, I am happy with this Aquamarine. Like, I have tried Aquamarine in the past, but when it came out of pens, it didn't look so appealing. It looked a lot darker. This is really bright. This is a bright teal gray. Like, it's very green with blue, and it's also dusty, subdued. And then Neko Yanagi is a wonderful chroma shader, but I do think that Neko Yanagi will just flow more naturally color-wise out of this Visconti. Again, I apologize for my lighting. It's not showing the beauty of this pen anymore. Winter days have really little lighting. It's actually cloudy outside, so I'm not really getting any light. Okay. But just look at the chroma shading on this. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, we're going to go with Neko Yanagi. Okay, so I'm just going to unscrew this, pull it up. So if you have never had a Visconti, like, okay, and then, yeah, you pull the piston upwards like this, and then into the ink bottle you go, and as you're pushing it down, it's going to create a vacuum, and then once you close the vacuum, the ink will rush in. All right. Okay, I think I got a really good amount. Let's just clean this off. And then let's close the reservoir over here. This is a medium nib, so I expect it to write a little juicy, a little wet. The Viscontis are typically wet, but sometimes they are also just pretty tamed. And you can post this Visconti, Medici, but it's very back-weighted. I do not suggest that. Okay. So this is the Visconti. Medici. Viola. And this is a medium nib. The ink is Sailor, Manyo, Neko Yanagi. This ink is light, you guys. So just like Haha, Neko Yanagi is a very light ink. And if that is not your jam, I would definitely go for a really deep, more saturated purple. But I do like it. It does dry a little darker than this. When it's wet, it's very light. Let's see the line variations. Downstrokes, cross strokes. It's very smooth. It's just slightly bouncy. It's a stiffer nib, actually. So I was hoping that it would be a little more soft than this. But I am getting line variations for this medium nib. Wow. So It isn't as wet as I expected it to be either. If it was wetter, then I would see more darker purples. Like you can see the darker purples pooling here, but it's chroma shading into these light blues, so that also should be showing. It seems to me that this writes a bit on the dry average side, so I am getting very controlled ink flow, which is lovely too. Niku Yanagi is a dry ink. It does not feel dry coming out of this nib, which means this Medici is performing really well. I love it. I love it. Okay. Yeah, Niku Yanagi is one of my favorite inks. I do love Niku Yanagi in a very, very wet pen and feed and nib, so that I can see more of the darker tones and shading into the light tones. I forgot to do the wetness test here. I mean, because this color is so light, you can barely see, but it made about that much. I will say that this is an average flowing pen. For this pen, let's talk about the pros and cons because, oh, okay. And I guess now the lighting decides to be very nice and bright, but you can see how light of a lavender that pen, the ink is compared to the swatch, which makes sense. And that just means that this is not a fire hose wet pen ink pairing. Coming out of my Leonardo gold nibs, the gold nibs have an ebonite feed, therefore it is just much wetter. This is a plastic feed, so the flow is not as wet. All right, so the pros of this pen. I think that the ink flow is consistent and great for daily writing. The color combination is done really well. I like the purple with the rose gold. I think it just looks really elegant and classy. The nib was tuned well, and I mean, like, I know that some people do fear the inconsistency of the Visconti nibs, but this one was tuned pretty well. Obviously, double reservoir. It's got a very beautiful ink window. So the cons. There are a few things that I am going to be nitpicky about this pen for the price that it's at. So the price of this pen is about $879, somewhere around there. That is what the pen is being retail. The retail price of this pen at most stores. So the Homo sapiens is $719. That's the Homo sapien Bronze Age. And that one, to me, just feels more substantial. But it is a black pen. So if you like this purple, then you're paying a premium for this purple resin made by Jonathan Brooks. And you're also paying for the Medici model, which is faceted. It is just something different. It is also a double reservoir. So the almost $200 increase is because of the double reservoir, the resin material in collaboration with Jonathan Brooks, as well as the ink window here. The 18 karat gold nib here is actually not as soft as the 18 karat gold nib from my Crystal Dream. So I'm not sure why, because I think they're the same gold material. Let me just do that test. Yeah, this one feels a lot softer, which is really beautiful. Like it's the perfect amount of softness. So I love my Crystal Dream. And this one is stiffer. So if it's the same material, I'm not sure why it is stiffer. It might just be that it's on the Medici. Who knows? I'll have to look that up because I do want to know. And if any of you Visconti experts know, then let me know as well. Personal opinion, it is not worth $8.79 to me. This pen, like I said earlier, is I would pay $500 for this. Visconti and any other pen companies can determine their price. They are allowed to do that. But we as consumers have to determine what we're willing to pay. And if it's too expensive, most of the time I will not buy it. This one just it spoke to me right away based on the picture and just the color, the colorway, the color scheme of this pen. And the price, I knew that it was going to be expensive. It's a Medici model. But I also knew that I already had a plan to collect the money and as well as affiliate earnings to help me pay for it. So, it's good to have those in place to prepare for such pens that might be too difficult to get. But not, of course, if this pen is not even in your radar, that is totally fine too. I think that it would be nice if this one was matte, because I do feel like this resin doesn't feel as high quality as the resins of my Leonardo pens, but I think the Leonardo pens are made with acrylic rods. I'm not sure why this one wasn't made with an acrylic rod. It does feel like resin to me. And so, and I believe Visconti said that this is made of resin. And so the feeling of resin versus acrylic rods are very different. And I prefer acrylic rods and how the Leonardos feel compared to this. It does feel lighter than I wanted it to be, and it is lighter, but that also is great that it's not too heavy. So fairly light weight. Okay. Body material feels cheaper. When I'm getting a pen this expensive, I will be particular about how a pen feels in my hand. Like the material, how the material feels. Body material feels cheaper than other Viscontis at this price. I do want to feel the briarwood in hand and see if that acro silk feels much more like, rich and expensive feeling. Because if I'm paying a lot for a pen, I want it to feel that way. Because, the art of writing is, I would say, 80 to 90% tactile feel, like how the pen feels in your hand and how it writes, and then the vibration against the paper feeding your hands. And then the other piece is just, seeing the ink on the paper, the beautiful colors. While the ink window looks really beautiful, the flower marks, the flower symbols here do kind of obscure the ink window a little bit. So ink window kind of obscured. I don't know if that is the right term. Okay, it's a bit obscured. And I think that at this price point, the feed should be ebonite. Now, this might not be a con because ebonite feeds will make this pen really wet. And if you like your Viscontis to have controlled flow, then the plastic feed does that job better. Ebonite will create good flow too. Like it's going to be a controlled flow, but it allows the ink to flow better and faster. All right. Well, whether you love or hate Visconti, do let me know down in the comments what you think of this pen. Like, you know, it's limited to 88 pens. It's a US exclusive. Did you guys think that this was a good US exclusive? Do you think that Visconti should continue doing stuff like that? As much as I love this pen, the one thing that makes me a little bit disappointed is the feel of this in my hand. It feels like, I mean, it feels like quality resin, but it's resin nonetheless. And I always wanted my Viscontis to feel impactful, to feel like heavy and sturdy like this one. Not to say that this isn't sturdy or not, but it just feels different, and I think I'm gonna have to get used to that this is a resin pen. Like, I knew that going into buying this, but I expected it to feel more like my Leonardo pens, and it isn't. So that much I have learned, and I think moving into the future, I won't be buying any more resin Viscontis. I would rather feel them first so that I know I am spending money towards something that I will like feeling in my hand and writing with. So just wondering if this ring part is supposed to come off because it fell out as I was trying to flush the pen. I don't know. This is a little disappointing. I mean, this is a resin pen, so I'm not sure if they didn't glue that really well, but it fell off. And like I can just put it back in there, but I'm not sure if that's what I need to be doing with this. All right, guys. Well, as you saw in that little clip that I decided to add at the end here, I wanted to share my experience of what happened. And so basically, when I went to flush the ink out, because I just felt like that ink was too light. But yeah, it was hard to pull it up at first. And then this part here, the ring here, and because the whole pen is faceted with 8 sides, this ring is also faceted with 8 sides, but it just came off. Like, as I was trying to clean the pen, I heard some clinking noises, and then I was like, there shouldn't be a clinking noise, and then I saw that this thing had fallen down. So it's attached up here. It's supposed to, but you can see here. However, they decided to attach this up here, whether by some form of glue or if it's just by friction, it's not secure. And so while I did only pay, you know, half of my own money, the other part is still my money. You know, it's still commission money that I earned that I had to pay. You know, basically I did pay full price. So I'll have to say there was no discount. The only discount is that my earnings from the commissions went towards this pen. And so at $900, I expect perfection. This was very disappointing. Okay, once you close it, let me just make sure, because this is vacuum, I want to keep this part over here open. Okay, you see that? That's gonna, like, you're gonna need to do that for a vacuum. And once I closed the vacuum, this ring fell off. So this is not what I expect for $900. So this is a poor quality control of Visconti. The pen is gorgeous, it is beautiful, but this here is not acceptable for $900. So yeah, I have decided, and I'm making the choice to return this pen, not because I don't like the color, but because it is too expensive for something like this to happen. I do not want to wait for them to fix this pen, because the warranties require that you send the pen off, they'll fix it for you, and then you're going to get it back. I don't need to wait for that. I am going to return this pen. So here are my reasons for returning this pen. One, the quality control. I got an unlucky one. That doesn't mean I hate Visconti. I don't hate Visconti at all. I just hate that I got unlucky with this one. I believe this is a newer take on the Medici pen. And this whole body is resin, and so it is a new style for them to work with, but I don't think that's an excuse for them to not have that everything be squared away. Two, I also believe that because of this ink window having all these tiny little ridges, it's a beautiful, beautiful ink window design. It truly is, but like I feel like dust might get in there and it might be hard to clean unless you just really like, you know, flush it with water. So that might just be a small thing in the future. The biggest part that makes me not want to keep this pen is really just the feel of this resin body in my hand. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel exquisitely expensive. It's nice. It's not bad by any means, but my cheaper pens, my Leonardo here is $200, and it feels exquisite, like marble, smooth, luxurious. My Aurora is light, and this is Auroraloid, which is like a cellulose acetate, and this material feels luxurious. This here, it really does feel like plastic, and I never want to say that about a high-end expensive pen, but it does. And I think that's because it's Jonathan Brooks's resin, and working with resin to form into the mold of such an expensive pen may not have been the best choice. So to me, this doesn't feel $900 luxurious. So those three are the three reasons why I am returning this pen, and we'll be looking for another pen in the future instead of this one. So I'm not sorry that I have to return this. I'm content with my decision. I think that after collecting fountain pens for 2 years, I have a pretty good idea of when I know I will love a pen. I just sold like 3-4 pens recently in January, and I feel good about sending those off to people who will love them. And so this one, I am just going to return it. I don't want to keep it and sell it later. So I do think that I have a good knowledge of what I love and what I don't like anymore. So that's my decision. And just a fair warning, I guess, to you guys, that if you do find that experience those issues, but you still love the pen, you can get it fixed, and the retailers will work with you. Atlas is great, and they will work with you if you want to continue fixing your pen. Otherwise, they're also amazing with their return policies. So if you don't like your pen within 30 days of purchasing, they will refund your money and return it. So I'll be working with them for that, and I can't wait to see what new pen I will decide. But now I know I do not like Visconti resin pens. Lesson learned. Well, all right. Thank you so much for sticking with me in unboxing this Visconti Medici Viola. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.